that I'm giving you because you're the first one coming to my residency. So I wanted to set the table and say that each show is going to be different. I'm going to have a different comedian with me. We're going to have different charities that we're going to be taking partial portions. And tonight, so this isn't my real entrance. This is just a little, you know what I mean? Like, this is, yeah, okay. But tonight, Bobbi Miller, who runs the residence station, is going to do comedy for the very first time. I'm telling you, she is, well, I'll let her tell you. I mean, it's just, she's fantastic. Bobbi Miller, bring it up.
Just bring it on me now. She's my friend. I'm going now. She's my friend. When I put together, everybody knows this is how the story goes. She's not everything. I want to eat. Thanks for sharing my measurements. I'm not out of breath, out of nerves right now. I told them I was not going to be able to do that step, so just give me a minute to catch my breath. All right, good afternoon, evening, what is it? It's evening. I have not started drinking yet, but I promise you my son better have my wine ready as soon as I get off of here. So, can everybody hear me all right? I really don't need a microphone, but I am suffering from a cold, getting rid of it for the past 6 weeks, so I'm not contagious. But I do have notes, because like Julie said, I've never done this before. And the reason I have a pink pad is because it's pretty. And I suffer from, I can't remember anything, so I'm old AF, and I have CRS. And if you don't know what that is, you're just as fucking old as me. So anyway, my name is Bobbi Miller. I am the executive director at the residence at Melrose Station. I have some of my, one of my team members right here. I threatened the rest of them, please don't come. It's my first time out, so hopefully there's not a lot of people here that I know. And if there's some of my family members, sorry, this is not me, I'm not at work right now. So I've not done this before, so please bear with me. So this is why I have my pad, and I am gonna look at it because, like I said, I have CRS. So personally, that's what I do. I'm the executive director at Melrose Station. So in order to understand me and my humor, you gotta know where I came from. So I am born and bred, and I was raised in New York. Hence, come on, I got 3 or 4 people in here. So I am the youngest of 5. So I had 2 older brothers and 2 older sisters. One has passed away, but so I'm the baby of 5. I grew up, I don't want to say wealthy because that sounds very pretentious, but we didn't suffer for anything. My dad grew up in the Depression, and he made sure that he wanted to make a better living for his kids. So my dad had a fish market, my dad had a laundromat, my dad had real estate, he had apartment buildings, and my dad had real estate, laundromat, fish market, and a bar. So he had businesses, and we didn't want for anything. My dad had freezers stuffed with food because he grew up hungry, and he wanted to make sure his kids were never hungry. So we always had food in the house. I need you to hear that in statement right there. We always had food in the house. My house was the house to come to if you didn't have food, because my mother would feed you. Now, again, I need you to pay attention. He had a fish market, a laundromat, a bar, and apartment real estate. We were very well known where I lived. We were always the only black family on the block. Everybody knew that I was Eddie Turner's daughter or Lionel Kathy Dolores Jr. I was the baby of one of them. So we walked the neighborhood and we were very well known. Now my mother didn't grow up like my father. My mother grew up with her mother, who was a bargain shopper. And an Avon, she was an Avon lady. And if there was a bargain to be had, my mother was going to find it. My mother found out that they were giving away free welfare cheese. Free welfare cheese. Okay? I just said, we weren't suffering for food. We were not by any means on welfare. But guess where the Turner kids were on the day that they gave out welfare cheese? We were on the lines. And there was a store called Buster Brown's. I had Mary Jane's in every color. There I am, online, with all the welfare people who knew me and knew, because their parents shopped at my dad's fish market. They did their laundry at my dad's laundry market. And their dads drank, thank you, I got a plane over there, not. But they drank at my dad's bar. So imagine people's surprise seeing little Bobbi, 7 years old, standing on line, walking away with this big hunk of cheese. So, needless to say, I was made fun of in school for different reasons. Still scarred to this day, and still won't eat grilled cheese for that reason. So, fast forward, again, lived a pretty nice life that our parents gave us. My parents passed away, both of them are not here anymore. So I moved around a lot. And one of the things I learned moving around is, now that I'm on my own, I don't have my dad's name or Bobbi to so-and-so's little sister or whatever. So it's always unique when you move to different places. So I moved to Waltham, that's where I currently live. But I work here in Melrose. Now, I was told a lot about Melrose before I got here. And I scope out the town before I go for even a job. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with my building. I fell in love with my staff, everything. I just felt at home the minute I walked through the residence at Melrose Station, right down the road, selfless plug there. The minute I walked through the door, I felt at home. And then I just kept meeting people after people after people. And then one of my team members introduced me to Stephanie Nelson. Everybody in the room knows Stephanie Nelson, right? And if you don't, you will by the end of the night, because somebody you're sitting next to knows Stephanie Nelson. So, long story short, Stephanie came to my building. She was telling me about the chamber and what they do. Telling me about the chamber and what they do. And she said, I want to give you a walking tour of Melrose. Now, I say I'm from New York, but I'm not from the city. We don't walk anywhere in the suburbs. We drive. And I'm like, a walking tour of Melrose. Okay. She comes to my building. We're great. We come out of the building, we make a right. We take 2 steps. Somebody beeps the horn. Hey, Steph! I'm like, oh, that's really cute. They know Stephanie. And then she's like, hey, Johnny. We keep walking. We're in the middle. We're talking as we're walking. We might have gotten a half a block down the road. Beep, beep, beep. Hey, Susie! I was like, all right, this is gonna be an interesting walk, like she clearly knows everybody. I kid you not, there had to be about 15 horn beeps, whatever, we're walking down the street, somebody literally pulled up on the side of us. I'm from New York, I'm ready to stop, drop, and roll. Somebody pulled up on the side of us with a landscaping truck and rolled down the window, and she's like, hey, Mike so-and-so, how was your sister's nephew's baby cousin's christenings? Like, she knew the kids in the store, and I'm like, this feels very Melrosian. And she goes, no, it's like Mayberry. I'm like, no, this is like Melrosian. We walk down Main Street, every single store owner, guess what? They know Stephanie. So I'm like, okay, I get how this is. So conversations back and forth, and then I get invited to the Harvest over at Memorial Hall in October. How many of you were there? Okay. So again, I'm from New York. I'm very nervous, anxious, non-trusting of people. And I walk into a room dimly lit, tables set up. God, I'm just I'm reminiscing. It looks just like this. It was dimly lit, just like this. Tables all elegant. There were tables where you can stand and talk to people. And as I'm walking, people, everybody knew everybody. Very Melrosian. Oh, how was this? How was so-and-so's soccer game? How was this? And then on, and I'm like, this is really, it looked like so wholesome and so perfect. Again, Stephanie says Mayberry, I says Melrosian. Say Melrosian. Any minute, I was waiting for a preacher to tell us to turn off the secular music and the Footloose dancers to come out. Like, that's how I felt. But I'm walking through and people are like, oh, coming up clearly, just right to me. You're Bobbi. And I'm like, okay, hi, nice to meet you. I heard all about you. And I was like, okay, great. Must have been from Stephanie. I kid you not, I went to several tables. People either knew me or knew about me, and they were greeting me by name. And then finally I was like, oh my goodness, Stephanie keeps saying this is Mayberry. I said, it's not. This is a Hallmark movie. I'm finally starring in a Hallmark movie, and I'm the token black bakery owner. Mama, I made it. I was like, yes! That's what it felt like. Then I had the nerve, I did say that, literally, I was thinking it. Then I was like, all right, this is the test of my friendship with Steph. Can I tell her this joke? Because I was dead serious. I was like, that's how they knew clearly who I was, but there was no uncomfortableness at all. It was just pretty funny, and I told her that, and she laughed hysterically. So I could not share that. I was asking Julie, would that be appropriate? Are they gonna run? Like, these days you don't know what's appropriate or not. So anyway, again, hold on, let me look at my notes, see if I missed anything. Nope, got that one. And I'm blind too, so I told you, spotlight on my notes. Okay. All right, okay, yeah, all right, so sorry. Again, first time, don't boo me.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Thank you, sir. That's my boy. As if you didn't know. Okay, so I've met some great people. I really have. Being here, working in Melrose. Stephanie, I claimed her parents, Mama Maureen and Papa Paul, from the first time I met them. They're right over there. And yes, love them. I literally have called them, I think I just found out their names were Maureen and Paul, because I called them Mom and Dad from the first time I met them, and they totally accepted me as their black stepchild. And Mom even told me, you know your dad was black, right? I was like, thank you, and she just said that in Turner's one night when we were together. So I'm gonna leave on this note, and the funny thing about not doing this ever in my life is Julie said, you should practice. Do you want to go through this? And I was like, nope, I don't want to time it, because I'm going to time it be either 1 minute or 10 minutes. You see, if you're going to be 1 minute and nobody's laughing and I'm running off the stage, I said, or it's going to be 7 minutes of silence and me just standing up there looking at everybody. So if I've gone over, Julie, I apologize, but I need to do one more shameless plug. And I don't want to talk about the residents at Melrose Station at 158 Essex Street. I don't want to talk about that at all. I want to talk about me and give a selfless plug for myself. So I got suckered into this by a conversation with Julie and Steph by saying when I turned 50, 100 years ago, I said I made a list of 50 things I wanted to do when I turned 50. And this was probably number like 48, because it scared me the most. And I started ticking through that list, and I realized I sucked at so many things, and threw the list away. And I said this story to them one night while we were just drinking, and they looked at each other, and they were like, should we tell her? And I was like, what? Julie has a residency coming up. And I was like, oh, sure, I'll do it. That was what, October? And I was like, she'll never call. She called. So anyway, so my last plug, now that I have a room full of friends, this is what I need from you. So, you have homework too. So my shameless plug is, I'm a single woman looking to mingle. So, but I need to tell you what I'm looking for so you can look out for me. before I do that, I just gotta tell you what I was looking for previously. So in my 20s, he had to be a handsome man. He had to have a good job, charismatic, outgoing, not a mama's boy, warm eyes, affectionate, good communicator, laughs a lot, talks a lot, and my son's like, preach, mama, on and on and on. Then my 30s, the standards change a little. Handsome man, good job. He loves his mama. He could be a mama's boy. That's a good thing, right? Sweet, funny, affectionate, and compassionate. 40s. Ugly men preferred. Good job and fun. And now that I'm in my 50s, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I need you. This is where I need your help. I am looking for he, she, they, them must love dogs. I do think we should, I don't know why I'm not staying on the stage. Don't tell Fran Nolan. I spent all afternoon building this. First of all, I think we need to have a moment of silence for the closing of the Continental. and the way they did it, it was like, we're closing after 72 years. And it was like, what's happening? Where am I going to get a stinger? But then they added insult to injury because when you went flying in there because you wanted to get at least one more time, right, at the Continental, they have this big sign that says, no popovers. Why am I going? Like, that's the whole thing. And their wait staff, if you've been to the Continental, do you want to? Yeah. The wait staff, I don't know if they go to a special school or what, but they don't care. They have, they're salty. So we go there every year, well, we did, every year for Frankie's birthday. It's Frankie's favorite restaurant, which is Hysterical, because Frankie only eats 3 things. But he thinks they're so nice. Look at the beans at Mom, and the pop, they're so nice. They give all this free food. Anyway, so we go, and then the next year I see this waitress, and I said, I think you waited on us last year. What was your name? She goes, Mary, like the Blessed Mother. Okay. And it just makes me think about the Boston accent. It's the thing that people do wrong is try. If they're an actress and they try to do a Boston accent, it's a very loose jaw.
because we don't care. Like, whatever. I've been thinking that the person that would be really good as part of that waitstaff is Bill Burr. He's made millions off this face. Whatever. Do you see him as a bartender? Excuse me, can I have an olive? What? You want garnish? Go to Encore. We don't do that here. So I grew up here in Melrose on West Wyoming Ave. I'm the youngest of 6. Clearly the youngest of big families end up doing comedy. Right, Bobbi? When you grow up in an Irish Catholic family, let me just paint that picture for you. The entire weekend is wrapped around what mass you're going to. Are we going to the 4? Or the 7:30? And there were other options, but for some reason those were the 2 that always seemed to happen for us. So this is how it worked. We'd have lunch, so it's noon, and my father would have 2 Carling Black Labels, like you do, and with his lunch, and then he'd go up and he'd watch Candlepin Bowling to lull himself to a little sleep. So why it wasn't discussed at lunch what mass we were going to? It was like my father would go upstairs and then my mother would be like, Jimmy, which mass are we going to? And he'd say, the 4, because they loved the 4 because that wasn't available for them when they were kids. Me, not so much. I would have one bite of my sandwich and my mother would say, don't get dirty, we're going to the 4. So I go outside, I go up the street, everybody's playing kickball. I'm sitting there, friends are like, Julie, what are you doing? Why aren't you playing? I can't. Why not? I can't get dirty. Why not? I'm going to the 4. Julie, that's 3.5 hours from now. I know Mensa. I swear my anxiety and some of my booze issues comes from being Catholic. I mean, come on. Nobody this size should have to scream crucify. It's not right. You know, I was 8 and the nun said to me, do you realize that nail went all the way through his hand? Do you realize I'm looking up at you like this because I'm a kid? Oh my goodness. So with that, with the big family, my mother was intense, I think is the word I would use. Every morning we would get milk, orange juice, and prune juice. With something to eat, obviously. Try doing that. It's like, she wasn't going to have anybody without a bowel movement on her watch. Let me tell you, that was very serious business. Even when I was in college, I'd come home and I'd be telling her about boys and parties, and she'd go, oh, and the plumbing? How is that going? I'm like, wow. She was fierce. My father was coming in from the garage, and he came in, with a fury, and he said, Barbara, there's a hole in our garage roof. And my mother switched gears so quickly. She used to get a nose flare when she was mad. Even as kids, when someone would say, oh, Mom's mad, we'd be like, how mad? Is it the nose flare? Are we at that level, or? So anyway, she says to my father, I'm right there, if that mother raccoon needs to get to her babies, and she chews through asphalt to get there, well, that's what she's gonna do. And I was like, okay, so she's clearly Team Raccoon. Jimmy 0, Raccoon 2. And I had this vision of them becoming friends. Sitting with their coffee, hey, Bobs, how are your 6? Good, how are your 6? Good to know. Picturing the raccoon being a little bit more sassy, with a cigarette, maybe a little something in the coffee, But the other thing about her was she was so determined to solve the problems of our world. I'm going to give you a couple examples. You know what I think it is, Jimmy? I think the reason why the kids like McDonald's is because the burgers are individually wrapped. That's what it is. So we get home from Family Swim, remember those days? And she's giddy. She's standing there and she's like, we've all got these burgers. They're nothing like McDonald's. They're like this thick. And we're all looking at each other like, what is going on here? And it always begs the question, oh, so she wrapped them in wax paper. And it was like, look at this, it's so special. And it always makes me think, whatever happened to wax paper? Why don't people use it anymore? Do they? I never see it. So those are the kinds of things. So my sister Gail and I were upset because we weren't on the bus route. St. Mary's had a bus for like 2 months. Anyway, she's drinking her coffee and she's like, girls, what's going on over there? And we're like, we didn't make the bus. And she goes, oh, well, what does the bus pass look like? And we're like, oh. And I said, oh, it's actually a yellow button that says school bus. She runs up, gets poster board, runs down, gets markers, and we're like, oh God, this is getting out of hand. So she makes, fraudulent bus passes. And we're letting her. She even had like a safety pin with glue, so she just like put them on our sweaters and sent us on our way. So I'm looking at Gail like, I don't know about this. And she said, well, let me tell you something right now. We're not standing together. There's no need to bring extra attention to those, illegal bus passes. So we get on, and we're thrilled. Because I did what Gail said. I put some other people in. So we get to school, and then we have recess, and it rains. So now my bus pass kind of looks like a globe. It's like green, because it's the black and the yellow. And the bus driver goes, yeah, I don't think so. And then he goes, and by the way, I saw those on the way in. Like, you got the one free ride, okay? Later on in life, my son, Danny, they were recommending a weighted vest for him, like for his anxiety. And again, now my mother doesn't know anything about OT or PT or any of that. Right? So I said, oh, they're recommending I get this vest. She goes, oh. She goes to the basement, gets my brother's wool vest from 1968. Finds some, weights. Like how much weight? Who the hell knows? So she tapes them in, and she sticks it on, was it Frank? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It was Frankie. So she puts it on him, right? And it kind of works. We went to a family party and it was a little calmer. So I'm like, you know what? I can't wait to get to OT. And so I'm like, I got this, I figured it out. I got it, So I say to her, hey, listen, we did that weighted vest thing. And she goes, really? Because I didn't even send you the link. It's a purchase one. She goes, and you did the 10 minutes on and the 10 minutes off. No, he's still wearing it. He's been wearing it since Saturday afternoon. But I let her. Like, I let my mother do these crazy things. And I'm like, oh wow, she's gonna solve that. That's ridiculous. My father was another piece of work. He loved the beach. And we didn't have much money because we were a big family. And so his whole goal was to get to the beach before the guy. We gotta beat the guy who gets $5 to park. He's got us up at the crack of ass. It is dark out. And the funny thing is that the night before, my dad would put the car in the ready, set, go position. Like, what, you gonna fight traffic at 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday? Like, what the hell? Like, how much time did that save you? Like, it doesn't even make any sense. So anyway, he would go, he would, take us, and we'd beat the guy. And one time, it was so dark, only car in the parking lot, he backs into a pole. And I look at my brother Jack. My brother Jack and I were the snarky ones. And so I looked at him, and he looked at me like, don't even think about it. Don't even think, like he's in a mood. So just, So anyway, so we're doing this all the time, going to the beach. Because it's free, right? And so I'm little, and I say to my dad, you see the other kids on this beach that are like my age, my height? They have what they call beach toys. Do you see them? They're brightly colored, they're having fun. I got nothing. My father literally finished eating his potato sticks, the Planters potato sticks, gives me the can and says, here's a pail. Give that a whirl. So I take it for a test run. I go into the ocean and I'm like, there's cardboard underneath this. This is bullshit. Get out, throw it in the trash. Now I'm on the street. Now I'm getting mad. So I look over and I see this beautiful lavender pail all by itself. Just sitting there saying, Julie, come steal this. So I do. So I just help myself to the lavender pail. And I go back to, now this is the other funny thing about a big family. Nobody cares. Like, everybody's in their own world. Nobody noticed that I come back with this random, purple bucket. People are reading, whatever. So I'm like, I gotta wait, this is good. This is a good day. So then it's not a good day because the screaming, crying girl with her father comes to our camp. And they're like, your daughter stole our daughter's pail. And I'm like this. We talked about it. I asked for beach toys. This was gonna be happening. That's all I'm saying. Going street. So anyway, so we get the pail back. And I overhear my father say to my mother on the way out of the beach, guess we're gonna have to buy her some beach toys. Jesus. I went to Merrimack College, and you know how the kids now, when they go to college, everything's matchy-match. You've got your, initials. Do you want them to go to school or just sleep all day? I mean, it's like unbelievable, the comforters and this and that. I say it because I'm jealous. I'm gonna tell you how this one went to college. So I overhear my parents talking. They're like, we dropped her off at 4 today, right? And I'm like, I'm going to college today? They're like, yeah, you're going today. So my mother goes and she gets like a trash bag. And I said, please tell me you're going to do something with that trash bag. Then get your pocketbook and take me to Caldors. Like, tell me we're going somewhere to get things for college. She's like, oh no, we don't need to do that. We're just gonna go right around the house. Yeah, come with me. Your sister just went to the dentist. Grab that toothbrush. grab that free floss. Get it in there. This is my favorite. Your brother Jeff just moved out and he left that brown comforter. Grab it. I go, he doesn't even want it. Why would I want it? Just take it. My father's men's stick, meaning men's stick. It's definitely men. It's like a deodorant for men. And my mother's, it's all the same thing. So then she convinces me that I live so close that I could just bring like 3 weeks worth of clothes, because then I could just come home. So I go to college with one trash bag, with 3 weeks of clothes, and the leftover crap that was in my house. So, that went over well. So when I was at Merrimack, I probably kissed every boy in the campus. It's a small school. Overlap is a given. Come on. But, no, maybe faculty, no people of religious order that I can remember, and definitely Mumbles the security guard. that I didn't know if I was going to graduate, this is how my mother answered a question about going to a bridal shower. You know, that's the day Julie's supposed to graduate. I'm going to go with the baby. You might see. I don't know. So, as you know, we're raising money for the Melrose Police Relief Organization. And I'm so grateful to them. I've had a few little run-ins with my beautiful little boys. So one day I come out of the house and there's a cruiser coming down Argyle Street, and I thought, you know, it's been a long time since I've seen a police car on our street. That's interesting. That car is slowing down. And he rolls down the window and says, "Excuse me, do you live here?" And I went, "Yes." He said, "I got kind of a weird complaint. Could someone in your house be peeing out the window?" Well, the answer is yes. It's just straight out, without question, yes. But who? Frankie, Danny, Fran? So I say to the officer, I said, you know, that's a behavior that he had, and I didn't know he was back doing that. And I said, he has autism. And the police officer said, you know, I used to work in special needs, and when I saw that, I said, you know what, I'm going to take this call, because I think I kind of know what's going on. So that was great. And then I took the high road and went to the neighbor and knocked on the door, and I said, I'm Julie Nolan, my son Danny is the boy who's peeing out the window. It's such a proud moment. Yes, that was that's mine. Yeah, keep going. So anyway, I go over and I, knock on the door, and he opens the door, and I explain the situation, and he says, "Oh, I can't imagine." And I have to be honest with you, I don't like that expression. When you say you can't imagine, that's like, I don't really want to deal with that at all. Because I have a great imagination. I could imagine being Elton John. I could imagine being anybody. I could be Ariana Grande in Wicked, So that put me off. And so I had a little fun with him. Because I've been taking acting lessons. And so I know how to cry on demand. So, when he said, "Oh, I can't imagine," I did one of these. No, you can't. I get 2 houses down, and I'm killing myself. Like that, it's like, what an idiot. Anyway, though, this was the interesting thing. As I was walking back to the house, I said, wait a minute. Because the husband said, yeah, my wife is afraid to go in the backyard. And I thought, what? That suggests that Danny can pee out his window, over the backyard, over the 6-foot fence, and hit her. Now let me tell you something. That's a horse of a different color. That, my friends, is talent. That's a skill, that's a gift. And I think it should be an Olympic sport. I put some thought into this. I think if you had a street of, Victorian homes, and you put all the contestants in the attic, this could happen. And then you pee out the window into a Dixie cup across the street. Yeah. And instead of saying, Danny, don't do that, I'll be like, drink more water. Win that medal. Come on. So my kids are little, and it's just so funny. So one year, it was Christmas, and my friend of mine gave me a rocking horse. It looked brand new. It was one of those old-fashioned ones. And little Frankie comes down. He's like 3. And I said, Frankie, look what Santa brought. He brought you a horse. Can you believe it? this is Frankie. Now, he didn't talk then. Every angle of that horse, and he keeps looking back at us. And if I could put words in, this is a plastic. Do these idiots really think this is a horse? What else don't they know? Like, should I be taking the baby brother and hitting it? Because this is just like, this is crazy. Another time I took Frankie to OTA, and I said, I have a surprise for you after your class. And so he goes in, he comes out, and I'm driving in the car, going home, and he gets out of his seatbelt, and he comes right up to my face, and he goes, is it a prehistoric sloth? No. No. Even Beyonce and Jay-Z can't get you that, kid. What are you talking about? So I said, no, we're going to the circus. And he goes, I've been to the circus. That's not surprising. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so they've been, well, you know what's funny? Here's the truth. I always was fascinated with entertainment. You know, I saw Shirley Temple, and I was like, oh, I gotta get me some of that. Like, how do I do that? So I, took the big jump to MMTV, and but anyway, so I just always had this dream of, walking red carpets, and it's just like whatever. And then when my second child was diagnosed with autism, I thought, well, that ship has sailed. Like I gotta focus. I gotta do my work. So what I realized was, wait a minute, let's put some minutes back on the clock. Let's raise the kids and then get back into it. So that's how I'm back here now. Almost 6. Kristen Brady is in the house. Kristen Brady was my babysitter for well over a decade. And she could do a show or write a book or whatever herself. But this is one of my favorites. Again, the literal, okay? Danny said to Kristen, they drove to the mall, and Danny said, no feet, no feet. Kristen goes to Frankie, what the hell is happening? He goes, you'll see. You'll see. He literally means he's not gonna walk. Right? He just flopped right down the parking lot.
It's freezing.
Yes.
So cold.
Yeah, too cold. Too cold. So who else is in the house? Well, we have some policemen in the house. We have Chief Kevin. I have a quick story about meeting them. I met them in August. And, I have like this Walt Disney imagination. Like, it's just, I just come up with these things that I think are great. And so I had this idea for them. And I went with Stephanie, and it was like I had my own presentation. And I say, listen, I'm running the what's it called?
Center stage.
There it is, thank you. And I just thought it might be kind of fun, maybe a little funky. And apparently I said funky twice. And Chief Kevin goes, I'm gonna stop you right there. Is this some sort of TikTok-y dance number you're thinking about? Which is exactly what I was thinking about. So I was like, oh, okay. So will you agree with maybe an interview? So he's like, yeah, I'll do an interview. What do? I call him Captain, not Chief. So that was a good time. But there are times when my brain doesn't think. I'm going to give you an example. I do side work for an accountant. I don't know how to do accounting at all. So believe me, it's just I had to be tutored and everything. In fact, my tutor still lives in Melrose, and I told her that I was working for an accountant, and she goes, oh my God, you never got it. But anyway, I was like, thanks, we were at a week. So I went to Elaine's house, and I've been to Elaine's house, I've known her for 20 years. And I was so excited for the first day to get back to doing my job. And I pull up and I go, I never noticed her door. I'll have to tell her, I like that door. Like, it's nice. I don't know if I've ever noticed it. Get out of the car, look and go, did she get a new Jeep? She just bought a Mercedes. I don't know what she's doing. Like, not for 1 second did I think, you're at the wrong house, Debbie. I literally was like, why does she have lacrosse? Her son skis. And I'm all like, you know, what the hell's wrong with these people? And so I open the door. They have 2 dogs. They come running at me. Now, I still think I'm at Elaine's house. So I look at this guy like, I said, I'm a little afraid of dogs. I said, does Elaine allow you to just bring dogs? And he says, Elaine lives there. I was like, oh. And then I look back on it, and it's like, why did not one thing? You'd say, wait a minute. No, everybody else is right. I'm going to leave you with this little story that I think you'll like. So my dating life was terrible, okay? Funny girls do not do well in the dating life. They always think you're a smart ass, which you are, and stuff like that. So where was I going with this? See? I'm not wrong. Oh, I know. So that was just the way my life was going. And I had a boyfriend. He wasn't really anything great. But I was at a point where I was always single and I just wanted to have someone to go to a wedding with me or a rehearsal dinner so people would leave me alone. Because when you're alone, everyone's like, oh, did you meet my cousin? You know, especially at the wedding. It's like, oh, you're like a patient at a wedding when you're single in your late 20s. You know, everybody's trying to get you energy and oxygen. But anyway, so I was dating this guy, and I asked him to go to the wedding with me. He said he had another wedding. I asked him if he would go to the rehearsal dinner with me. And I didn't even really like him. But anyway, so anyway, I don't hear from him. And like I know, because I'm from a big family, that it's etiquette to say whether you're coming or not. You don't wait till, the day of. So I go to get my nails done Thursday night, and he calls my house, because we didn't have cell phones back then, and he says to my father, tell Julie I'll call her first thing in the morning. Now, he was already not going to rehearsal dinner. I'd already, figured that out. But what killed me was, he's going to call me first thing in the morning. What is that? Is it 7? Is it with juice or? So I'm at work and it's hour after hour. It's 10:45. I go to my coworker and I go, if you saw someone eating a sandwich right now, would you think it was on? She's like, what? I said, no, seriously, you saw someone eating Doritos or something. My point, Sandy, is it's not first thing in the morning. It's 4:11, that bastard. He literally rings on cue. And he goes, well, listen, what's going on with that rehearsal dinner? I go, well, I know I'm going, and I know that you are not. So he says, well, listen, I'm going to Maine for a couple of days. Why don't I give you a call when I get back? I go, why don't you not? Let's just, we're good. So now I've got this rehearsal dinner by myself, and my friend Kristen McCarthy, who's getting married, says, your groomsman is single, and he's good looking. And he's like, oh. So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. We're in the wedding. So my parents go to the wedding because they weren't invited, but they just wanted to see the whole situation. Now, the groomsmen they wore navy blue blazers, khaki pants. You know that look? It's almost like a Cape Cod thing, with like the flowered tie and a light blue button down. Okay? That is what you're supposed to wear. That is the groomsman uniform. What is my groomsman wear? Houndstooth blazer. Doesn't really go with the floral tie, but all right. And a white shirt. Still got the khakis right. But what was really funny was apparently my mother looked at my file and went, that'll be be Jules. They think he's completely wearing the wrong thing. That'll be Jules. So when I did meet my husband, my friend Tammy had a dinner party, and she said, "Listen, I want you to meet Fran Nolan. He's just like you. He lives at home. His mother packs his lunch sometimes, and he drives a beat-up Ford Escort." I go, "Why the hell would I want that doubled? Like, that's just, are you kidding?" So I go to this dinner, and I get out of my white beat-up Escort, and I stare at the brown beat-up Escort. And I think, this does not bode well. I don't think this is going to be a good situation. And then, what's funny about Fran is he didn't figure out it was a date. Married couple, me and you. Okay. So anyway, he was wearing this crazy outfit, and it was like a short sleeve button down over a James Joyce t-shirt with shorts and, like, I don't know, some sort of loafer. And I don't know, Tammy and I had like mental telepathy. Like, I would just look at her and she goes, "I don't know why you wear that." You know, I always see him in suits. I see it, you know. So anyway, she was putting my number on Post-its all over his cubicle. And I'm like, please don't do that. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And so he did ask me out, and I said to Tammy, "Well, of course you're higher up than him. You've been leaving my number. Like, of course he's gonna." And so she said, "This is what changed me." She said, "I don't think Fran Nolan does anything he doesn't want to do." And I thought, there's potential here. Crazy. There's actually nice people out there. But yeah, that'll be a Netflix special. As far as the dating world. Oh. But he's such a good guy. He built the. Don't tell him I didn't stand on this. He'll absolutely kill him. Well, that is my show for this evening.